Okay, I'm David Hilster. I've been 40 years in industry, not in the university, in AI and NLP. Yes, my first job out of college was NLP, writing a natural language processor for translating English to SQL. I recently retired from LexisNexis Supercomputing Group. I'm currently an adjunct professor at Northeastern University in Miami campus. I'm co-author of the computer programming language called NLP++, the VisualText and the NLP engine. I'm co-authoring the first textbook on NLP++. It's coming out soon. And I'm co-founding the NLP Foundation, blockchain, and coin. And I am finishing up a book with the co-author of NLP++. It's going to be about 290 pages. BPB Publisher contacted us. They're the largest publisher of books in computer science and IT in Asia. Got about 6,000 titles, sold about 100 million copies. So that should be available later this year. So today at the talk, I want to talk about how large language models are bamboozling the world, meaning fooling the world, and something bigger than ChatGPT, which is our NLP++, the NLP blockchain and coin, and what I call the great digital migration. I know it's hard for you to believe, but after my students, talking with me for weeks, they'll come back to me and say, "Professor, this is going to be bigger than ChatGPT." I said, "Yeah, it can be." So let's get into this. And since I'm an expert in NLP, I'm going to try to get some misunderstandings. Do large language models hallucinate? No, they don't. Let me tell you why. It's because the output they output is what they're supposed to output. They're just a big autocomplete. We humans interpret it as being a hallucination. It doesn't know anything. It's just an algorithm. I know how to build one. If you've ever built one, it's just outputting what it's supposed to output. We'll get to why it's bamboozling us, okay? But no, we humans interpret that as a hallucination because we're expecting a specific logical output from our prompt. It's our problem, really. The real question for large language models, do they function as they are programmed to function? Okay? That's why I'm doing this, to get ourselves, geared here. Can large language models solve large logical problems? No, they can't. They're statistical systems. My degree is in mathematics and linguistics. They're statistical systems. There's no logic in statistics. The stupid questions, we're asking it stupid questions. You don't go to your phone and start typing and expect autocomplete to do a math problem. But that's what large language models are. They're no different. They're just more sophisticated, okay? How many R's in the words? When I see people, I said, you actually are expecting autocomplete to give you these answers? So I'll tell you why we're doing this. Are large language models intelligent? No, there's no intelligence there, and there never will be. Statistics aren't that. What large language models are frozen probability maps that takes an input and creates an output based on the next most probable output. It's no different from autocomplete. It's just bigger. And if you've never used one, I used a llama with one of my classes, and I was really surprised to see it doesn't even come out with the next word. You see here, it comes out with SH space TH. That's the next output. Now you tell me how that's understanding anything. It's not. That's the output. I can't say it any different. Okay? Let's see. Can we fix the problems with large language models? No. You cannot change probability into logic. You can't. Impossible. That's why we have statistics. If you could, I'll come up here, we'll go to Las Vegas, win a lot of money, and that's what we do. Will large language models get smarter? No. We've really reached the limit. Did you notice how ChatGPT 5 was not like an explosion and all of a sudden it was great? Well, it turns out that there's an article by two physicists, just physicists, looking at when you deal with systems like this. And they said when you get to the ChatGPT 5, you're going to have all this thrashing going on algorithmically. The rule is you can only squeeze so much probability out of text, because that's all it's doing. Just probability. We can improve the way we use large language models. We can pretend, the agents and agentic AI is really great until you put it on and you start working. And next thing you know, somebody's booked a flight for you to London and you didn't want to go there because it read your emails wrong. Why do people turn off the Apple Intelligence in a day when they get their iPhones? Are large language models AI? No, they are artificial, but there's no intelligence. They are useful tools. They're just like an autocomplete, but they are not AI. The general population, when I talk a lot of times to businesses, and I said, here's what you can do. If you can switch the word AI for magic and put magic in its place, then that's what you're really talking, the general public, right? Oh, I used magic today to write my email. Oh, I used magic today to generate that's what they're really thinking in their heads. That's what's really going on. So that's what, if you're talking to somebody, oh, you're not using your AI, you're using magic, aren't you? But that's what people mean, I think, when the general population, they use AI for everything. Everything. Can large language models ever be used in critical pipelines? Absolutely not. And they're not used. Lots of companies, I will tell you, are lying to the public. They're saying they're using it in places they are not because they can't. They can help write text. They can help writing computer code. They can do informal conversations. They can do simple non-critical tasks strung together. It doesn't matter. You're not going to die if somebody sends you the wrong email when they're trying to spam you. Anybody here getting spam from large language models now? Oh, that's so great. This technology is wonderful. That's the most effect I have. I go to LinkedIn and I can see these people. It looks like it's talking to me. I can recognize large language model agentic stuff in my mailbox. And this is the AI that's going to take over the world, right? All right. Why are we bamboozled by this? Why is this? Well, this is a big word. Anthropomorphic projection. We project a human being on the other side. And we say, oh, it's hallucinating. Why? Because when it gets to this point, it can go this direction or this direction. It's not even the word, but wherever it is, and it's going this direction. Oh, it's hallucinating. You are judging it that way. People think it's intelligent. I have arguments. I'm in a physics group. My dad and I are in physics for many years. And these people say, no, it's AI. It's thinking it's doing. No, it's not. What happens is we put a person on the other side. This happened back in ELIZA in the 1960s. They had the same thing go on. ELIZA, all of a sudden, everybody's saying AI is going to take over the world. All it was a Rogerian psychologist and just repeated the question. It's like being a psychologist. Oh, I'm feeling bad today. Why are you feeling bad today? Well, my mother's doing it. What about your mother? And they thought this was AI. The same thing's going on. What I would recommend, an acquaintance of mine, Dr. Emily Bender, she's an adjunct professor at University of Washington. She wrote the AI Con. Great book. You should read it. This is what she calls large language models a stochastic parrot. Stochastic, if you don't know what that means, it's probability, statistical, and it's a parrot. Okay, you can read. I have a nice article I wrote about it if you don't want to read it. If you go to Natural Language Understanding Globe, nluglobe.org, I've got an article there. I wrote about that book. Great book if you want to learn about it. So here's the question, which we don't answer at all. Is human language probabilistic or rule-based? Well, it is rule-based. We know this from psycholinguistic studies. They are not conscious, but we can test it. Everybody in this room who speaks a natural language, a human language, that's your native language, I will give you 100 sentences, what we call grammatical sentences. 50 sentences, and 50 sentences that aren't grammatical. And everyone who speaks that language will get them all right. And yet their neural networks are all different. How is that? Probability? No. We use context to figure stuff out. We don't use probability. When I say Google, you don't go, okay, Professor David said Google, that's a 73%, that means the verb to Google, or in 20 whatever percent, that's the company. No, we don't work that way. As I'm speaking to you, the words come to you and those things are associated, the context, the rules come in. If I say a sentence like John Flipper, frog moose, doesn't mean anything. Why? We have rules in language. That's why. That's what we have. So we do have probability show up. If you want to be a linguist like myself, we have these garden path sentences that, because of probability, we've heard these words so many times that we get lost on it. This is a probabilistic problem, but this isn't natural language understanding. This is bamboozling. This is playing around with people. We don't go around saying sentences like the prime number few, which is a grammatical sentence, and people expect anybody to understand that. It's the horse raced by, so you're reading, the horse raced by the barn fell. So you're great up till fell. Oh, the horse raced past the barn. Ow. Why? We're going down a garden path, we call it. This is a linguistic term. My favorite, though, is a prime number few. That's an absolutely grammatical sentence in English. 80% of the people can't even get it after 10 minutes. Well, I'll give you the answer since you guys all came. So the first one, the problem is it's really the horse. That was raced by the barn. It fell. The second one is the prime number. Prime number is so squunched. We think of prime number as a thing we can't tear apart. Well, you can tear it apart because the prime means the best, like prime rib. The prime, the best, they are few in number. Now, if you see, oh, the prime, number few. Now, why? That's a statistical, probabilistic thing, but that's not the way language works. Okay. So the biggest problems with large language models is there's trillions of tokens that require massive computer clusters. You've heard about all the resources that they have. Sorry about that. Enormous electricity and water uses. In fact, they're going into towns and places in South America and planning on just sucking up all the resources. It's centrally controlled in the hands of a few tech giants. That's not good. Data provenance and copyright. I did one project in my SQL class, one of the classes I teach at Northeastern, and I said, a Copilot, generate some fake doctor's documents as if I went to the doctor and this is what they write about me. It should know about that. There's a thing called HIPAA, which is the digital formatting that we have for all of our records of all of our medical stuff. This is by federal law, a federal offense to even look at something you shouldn't. How is it that it's generating those? Why did a very brave person from India who was testifying against OpenAI about it stealing and copyrighted stuff end up, I'm sorry, he was not alive anymore. And he said they took his life, but he had 2 bullets in his head, all kinds. Why is this? Because this stuff is big business and copyright is wrong. If you haven't heard that story, look it up. It's amazing. So we don't know where it is. We don't know what it's been trained on. And yet we are saying, oh, it's biased. It's all this. It's like, there's so many problems with these large language models. But when you look at statistical versus logical reasoning, large language models operate on probability distributions, not a formal logic. Human users judge them to be prone to hallucination and unpredictable answers, and cannot offer probable trust or verification. But one of the people at our university is an administrator. He goes, I like I can't remember the name. I'll just call it Copilot. I like that one better because when I asked it how it did it, it explained it to me. I said, do you want me to burst your bubble now, or do you want to go away happy in la la land, believing this is all true? And he goes, no, I'd be in la la land. I turned around, he goes, no, wait. I said, look, it's trained on so many explanations. The words that you use, the statistical output will look like an explanation. It's not thinking. But again, we project the person on that and we go, oh, right? I mean, I would imagine people in the very beginning when it goes, look, it's intelligent. It knew the next word I'm going to type. Yeah, now it's like, oh, it knows all this, much more. But that's not really what's happening. So one of the problems, too, is centralization and monopolies. Few organizations control and develop. Barriers for small players and research to labs to contribute. Concentration of power undermines innovation. You better believe it. Over-promising and under-delivering. Probably don't even need to talk to you about this. I've actually been very encouraged by most of the students. I work mostly with grad students, but most of the students in computer science are not being fooled. They'll come up to me and says, yeah, professor, I could go and be in this company, earn $250,000 for 2 years, and then it goes under. Because I know this stuff is based on technology that's just not going to work. And they are financially, there is a great video, if you look up Ed Zitron, but he says that OpenAI loses money on every prompt it serves. He also says OpenAI does not scale favorably. It's more expensive as it gets bigger. This is not a good business model, okay? It's not, especially if your revenue, unless your revenue is going to go up somehow. So he's predicting that OpenAI will be dead in 2 years. Now, we don't know what's that. We're just using it, but we don't understand that all these investors and the money out there is limited. Have you heard the money they're throwing around out there? You think that's unlimited, and you think they're going to keep doing that? And your ChatGPT 5 comes out, and no one cares. So what's happening now is there's a turn to what we're calling human-centric NLP. Shift from black boxes to transparent rule-based systems, leverage human expertise for linguistic precision, align technology development with human values. Why can we do this? Well, we have a computer programming language. I didn't come up with this. I came up with the programming language with my friend 25 years ago, but someone, I think last year, called it, Dave, this is like the SQL for text. Yep, that's what it is. So now we have a universal programming language for natural language processing. Before, what are you going to do it in? Java? No, just ask ChatGPT. What's the best programming language for natural language processing? I rip my hair out every time it gives me the answer. Python. Yeah, you laugh, right? I mean, it's unbelievable. And yet we have NLP++, which now is becoming more and more known. Well, where did this come from? In 1998, my best friend called me up, says, leave your job, I got a couple $1 million, we're going to create the dream programming language for NLP. And that's what we did. We created NLP++ and VisualText. The editors are very important because our brains are terrible at two things, logic and language, the structure of language. We don't know. We can't, if we're dealing with lots of text and all these rules, we don't know. So there's a VisualText editor that you can do. It allows programmers to write for the first time text analyzers that did what only humans could do when reading and understanding text. We launched it during the dot-com crash. Great timing. No, I said, we got this new technology. This was at the time, I kid you not, I watched television and some young lady registered. All she did, she wasn't even a programmer. She registered lipstick.com and got $10 million the same day. She didn't know, on TV, what are you going to do with it? I'm not sure. Are you a programmer? No. Now you can imagine all the money being thrown at it. And then we come up with this, we've got this great new programming language. They didn't care. I turned to my friend and I said something that was way too prophetic. I said, no one's going to pay attention to this for 20 years. I was off by 5, but. So what is NLP++ based on? So based on what we call, he and I came up with kind of a cognitive model. We have dictionaries and knowledge bases, those things we know, right? We know the number, the FIVE has a number 5 to it, very simple thing. We have built-in tokenization and tree structure. So when we have text, we have tokens. We don't do pieces like ChatGPT or large language models. So our language says we should bring in text, tokenize it, put it in a tree, and then have a very powerful rule system where we can start putting together a little at a time and grow that, just kind of like a tree grows. We have a built-in knowledge base. So when I'm reading the text and I'm building an analyzer, it says, Professor David gave a talk at UCO on September 25th. He was booed and everybody left. What is he? How do you know? Well, when I'm talking to you, you put into your mind, as I'm talking, these things in your knowledge. We can program that into NLP++. And we can go back and say what this is. I'll show you can actually look at how we do that. You can do it right now. Anybody use VS Code? Just go to VS Code, go to the extensions, type in just NLP, right at the top, NLP++. I wrote the NLP++ language extension. You go in there, you search, you install it, you click on the NLP++ icon, you go into the analyzer, click on this little cog, it loads this up, and this is kind of what it looks like. And you can start running analyzers. We have lots of people who are not programmers who use NLP++. How do they do that? Well, they're all experts at speaking a language. You start out with a text and it just tokenizes it. All it is just every word broken down. And then after that, oh, I can put these together because I know this is what I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to understand it. So anybody can use that. Oh, and you can do it on your phone. You don't even need to have a computer at the time. I built this one called NLP Fix, and it has 3 analyzers, but it doesn't run. What it is just a visualization of the visual text, and we have 3 analyzers, dates and times, something like regex. Everybody loves regex, right? If you know NLP++, it's regex times 1,000. Formatted text, it's a different one, and actually NLP demo where it does, NAFRA and that kind of stuff, meaning finding out information of one person across an entire text. You can go on your phone and punch around. All right. All right, so the time is right for NLP++. The new technologies take off when the time is right. That's now, it's happening. People are looking at this. Large language models and machine learning and neural networks has seduced us into thinking that programming computers to understand natural language is not needed. It learns on its own. I was in the supercomputing group at LexisNexis, and I had a VP stand up there who knows nothing about NLP saying, we don't need syntax and semantics anymore. That's all old stuff. Boy, I was so mad at that guy, but I didn't say anything during his talk with the university students. NLP++ is the only computer programming language ever invented for NLP, and is rule-based and logical. We got a problem with NLP++, even though it was used in NASDAQ, for instance, in 2003, doing sentiment analysis at a 95% clip, and it ran for 3 or 4, and it was a simple program. We still couldn't get it off the ground. It's an empty programming language. It's like SQL. It's a language, not an application or toolkit. It needs to be programmed by programmers. It needs thousands of dictionaries and knowledge bases and parsers to be built. There's no incentive to build them. Too big for any, even the biggest companies to do. They look at you like, you're nuts, it's impossible to do. So what happens? This guy walks into my life last year. And his name is Zach Cohen. He's co-founder of Firebase, it's a Web3 blockchain. And he asked me this fatal question. He goes, have you ever thought about combining NLP++ with blockchain? And I said, I know what blockchain is. For the next 2 months, I watched every video, trained, I built a blockchain, everything. But it took, after months of talking and deep study and deep thinking, yes, but what is it? Well, if you don't know what a blockchain is, I assume that not everybody does. It's basically a decentralized distributed ledger. What's that mean? Well, you can see over here, someone making calculations, transactions. That's what it is. It's just transactions, and it's immutable. That means you can't break it. You can't go in the middle of this and say, oh, I'm going to steal this money and I'm going to take this transaction out here. Can't do it. If you pull that, the entire thing collapses. All right, that's what it is. I won't spend a whole lot of time on that. And of course, Bitcoin is based on that. You know how it is when all I want to do is send you money and someone took 3% somewhere. That's kind of stupid. Why? That's why blockchain and Bitcoin are becoming more and more popular. And what's really interesting is blockchain, the community really took off in 2011 when they did Occupy Wall Street. These people were highlighting the economic inequality and cooperative influence on the government, raised public awareness about financial systems and the flaws, all these things. They wanted the power to be put back to the people. If I'm doing something for you, I want to get paid from you. I don't want somebody in the middle to pull something out. I mean, that's all these people on these money managers on Wall Street. Large language models are not this. Large language models require a ridiculous amount of computers. There's nobody here who can do it. Only the most giant companies can do that. And they're going to fail anyways because they don't have enough. It's not going to work. But this is the blockchain community, bringing finances back to the people, bringing the power back to the people. So NLP's biggest problems, it's not trustworthy, controlled by a few right now. It's trained on copyrighted data. It's too hard to build trustworthy NLP by hand. There's no common programming language. This is what people say. If there was, there's no way to incentivize building all that stuff. How are you going to keep, and how to keep NLP in the hands of the people, not just of the few? Well, NLP, blockchain, and coin. Solving NLP's biggest problems. So not trustworthy. NLP++ is a rule-based and logical-based system. It is trustworthy. We can, when we write our analyzers, we've done it for many fields, reading obituaries, reading medical data, reading tickets that your policeman writes, which are all crazy. When we do that, we can tell you why we got this code or we got this information. We can tell you why, because we've understood it just like a person. It's not a general thing. It's programmed to do that thing. So if a lawyer comes to me and says, Dave, your system just made them take out the wrong kidney of this person, go back and do it. Oh no, we use large language models. Well, go back and fix it. What do you say? Oh, well, we're going to train it with more stuff and we're going to cross our fingers so it doesn't happen next time. Now, what do you think the lawyers are going to say to you? Oh, that's fine. That's what I'm going to go to court and I'm going to defend that. He's going to tell you, take that program out. Now, if it was done with NLP++, we could go in, just like when a car has a problem, someone dies, you go in, you find where the piece is, we can go in NLP++. Oh, you missed this word in the dictionary. We didn't have this kind of rule. We missed this kind of knowledge. We can go back to the lawyer and says, it's been fixed. It's not only been fixed, we fix it in a principal way. All right. Controlled by a few, NLP blockchain is distributed network, controlled by and built by the people. It's not going to, it doesn't need, the guy, Zach, he said, oh, how many petabytes, what are we going to need? I said, if we had all the dictionaries in the world and all the topics for all those dictionaries, it probably could still fit on your phone. I mean, that's amazing. But you can think about it, it's not a big deal. So it's too hard to build trustworthy NLP, based on copyrighted data. This is another one. First question I get, professor, how do you train NLP++? I said, oh, it's the same question as, oh, you asked the other day, how do you train SQL? Oh, I don't ask, that's a stupid question. Okay, well, the answer is when you do, instead of training, we use human ingenuity. If I ask you to write a program for something, you don't write it for just this one thing, right? You're going to generalize it for something. You're going to make sure it works for everything. That's what we programmers do. So we have ingenuity, generalization, and common knowledge. You can't copyright a dictionary Nepali for this word and its 7 meanings. You can't copyright that. It's common knowledge. Hard to build trustworthy NLP by hand. Well, what do? You make an NLP coin. And if you build these things, you get NLP coin. So if you have a team that's your favorite team in Nepal, and it's a soccer team, and they have slangs, and this one emoji for your soccer team means this, and you keep the dictionary for that, and ESPN runs during that soccer team not only the chances of winning, but the emotions of the people who are chatting, that person's going to get an NLP coin. And they'll be able to upkeep that. Yeah, maybe you make $1,000 a month. Maybe in Nepal, that's a lot of money, I don't know. But this is kind of the idea. The NLP blockchain coin resonates with the blockchain community because it puts AI back into the hands of the people. The worth of the coin, it's investing what I call the great digital migration. Now, this is something I talked about before, very important. We are what I call the 5th linguistic revolution, according to me. So, Professor Hilster talked about the 5th. I've never seen that. He's just making it. Yes, but I'm making it up with 40 years experience in linguistics and thinking every day about how we understand language. And this, I think I wrote this, and I think it was part of my lecture 2 years ago here. The first linguistic revolution, writing systems. We were talking for a long time, and then all of a sudden we came up with the writing systems. The second linguistic revolution, I say, is printing press. Now, everybody can get the information, right? We all think about having books. Before, they're all written by hand. Dictionaries, okay, who cares, Dave? Dictionaries, the first time we sat down and said, this is a language, and here are the words, and this is what they mean. Okay, that's a very important part. Then, in the late 1950s, early 60s, very brilliant person came along, Noam Chomsky, the father of modern linguistics, and he said, natural language is rule-based. And now we're in, oh, look at that, it's kind of, there, move this up here, there we go. We're in the digital migration, what I call it. We're now going to transport and migrate all the linguistic, world knowledge, and algorithmic knowledge to computers so that they have the information. We do this with children. If you are an English speaker, it takes you 4 years before we linguists call you an adult speaker. English is the easiest language. Anybody who's a foreigner telling you English is hard, they're lying. English is easy. Big vocabulary, different thing. Harder language, Finnish. If you speak Finnish, they don't consider a Finnish person to be speaking good adult Finnish until they're 14. How are you going to, if I gave you an alien language like hieroglyphics, how are you going to understand what that is? You're not. We had 1,500 years with the best linguists on the planet. Couldn't get to it. The only way we got to it was with a translation of a Rosetta Stone. You can't get that. You can't get that information. Language is arbitrary. It must be memorized. Linguistic and world knowledge have developed together in thousands of years. Try to talk about philosophy without language. So language and knowledge are like this. When we judge a robot in a sci-fi film, we don't do it by, look, it knows how to fly. No, he knows how to talk to it, the person that knows how to talk to us and interact with us and think. That's the way we judge. Language is big. Linguistic knowledge and their algorithms must be passed to computers. They cannot be learned from our writing systems alone. Take a look at it over here. Start at the top. If you're Chinese, you probably know. Keep going down. Oh, it's mother. All of those are mother. How are you going to statistically find those two characters at the top in Chinese? If I gave you all the text in Chinese ever, you're never going to find it. Ever. Ever. And yet, if you take a large language model with an alien language with aliens and you process it, they're going to get bamboozled too. Is it understanding anything? No. So what do we need to do? Well, we're forming the NLP Foundation. And right now, oh my gosh, algorithms is spelled wrong. So the NLP Foundation, it's going to be the governing body for the Great Digital Migration. You guys know that I don't know, maybe you don't, Unicode has a governing body. You can't just go and add an emoji. That's why when they added emoji, I'm going, what? Who cares? They added a donut emoji? Just to add it. No, how do you then, everybody has to use the same one. There's in fact, in NLP Engine, we have a place because we use Nepali, Nepali has this space for its characters. Now you can imagine taking that same concept and then doing it for every dictionary and every language, for every topic. Why are we going to have 17 dictionaries for English? We're not. We want to do, so that's what the NLP, so the NLP Foundation is going to govern over the universal programming language to keep that going, because only 2 of us have been working on it for a while. I mean, somebody else work on that. And then we have the NLP blockchain. It's a repository for the dictionaries and the algorithms. One of our people who are on the committee, if you go to NLP Foundation, NLP.Foundation, no one knows this exists. It's not been announced. You can find the group of people who are the founders. One of the guys says, Dave, you don't understand. GitHub will be all over your case to host the NLP, the NLP blockchain, the repository for all these dictionaries and everything, because they got to go somewhere. And then, of course, the NLP coin to incentivize the building of these repositories. A couple of fun things. Can you see the NLP in the block? All right. You look at this. I am an artist. If you don't believe me, I can sit down and draw a portrait. I know it's like, but I like to design these things. Why did I do this? This is a rebellion against all the blockchain or the coins out there that are so complicated that if you try to do it on your own and draw it, it's impossible. Have you ever noticed it? It's like a fingerprint, these things. So what am I doing? We're building it by hand. We're not going fast, so I put a turtle in there, and then I build this by hand because it's hand built. I did it on purpose. That's going to be the logo for the coin. It's a rebellion. So, I'm sorry. He's crazy, this guy. All right, so what we need to do is secure funds for the foundation. We have to convince the big boys. I mean, I'm talking with my friend Zach, and he goes, Dave, that's not what you want to say when you're talking to Elon Musk. I said, I'm not going to talk to Elon Musk. He says, we're going to go to the big boys. Why? Because this is what Zach said. Zach says, we need to tell Elon Musk his baby's ugly. I couldn't understand that for a while. And what it means is your technology isn't going to go anywhere. Why haven't we seen the robots doing everything? Because they're statistical and neural network based. They put these robots already into homes. They don't announce it. You haven't heard about it, but I have. They put them on and the people turn them off in an hour because they'll fold the clothes. But the moment they don't do it, you start trying to talk to them in a large language model. It's not really understanding anything. You turn it off. It's like, get out of here. And it's not going to get better. That's the technology. So we have to secure funds for this. The funds will be used to construct the blockchain, to define the NLP coin. I'm talking to the blockchain people go, I said, yeah, it's different. When you have a new technology, guess what? You're gonna have to invent new stuff because it's not been done before. I'm gonna build a dictionary, so I get coin. What if you used it? What if I build something, they build something, and I'm building and I get lots of views or uses? Oh, that's kind of like plays. So our NLP Foundation you built a dictionary for whatever language, and it's being used like crazy. We're going to notch those up, and that's going to be like music. So that means you get NLP coin for that. And we take a portion. All right. Did I say everything here? Oh yeah, sorry. Systemize we've got to come up with the system. You notice that when you say .br for Brazil, .us for the United States, .zh for Chinese. I can't remember, but these are standard international codes. We're going to have to do the same thing for all this stuff, and there's going to be a lot of it. We're also going to give grants to universities. We want this thing to be built all the time. We don't want to give it to Fred over there in New Zealand, and he dies, and no one's taking care of it anymore. So we're going to start using. I've already been talking. We're talking with India, RVCE University. We need to do Chinese, Portuguese because my wife's Brazilian. I know Portuguese. We have to do English, of course. English is the most spoken language. If you look at just really speaking, it's 1.8 billion people speak it. It's not their native language all the time. But that's the top language. Future developers using NLP blockchain. What's this going to be like? What's the world going to be like when 5, 10, 15 years from now? This is a turtle. We're going to use dictionaries and knowledge bases and algorithms to build applications. That's what you're going to do. Practical language use is very specific. It's not generic. This is the thing that bothers me so much. Oh, what's the best way to do natural language processing? Oh, get Python and get the NLP kit. It does everything, but it does nothing, because the moment you want it to do this, it doesn't do that. It's a black box, so what do? You don't do it. You do it in your class. Everybody talks about it. We had interns, and the intern was talking about, oh, it's doing this in sentiment analysis. And then I said, how can we do this in real life? We're going to put this in a real life system. Oh, you can't do that. I said, why are we teaching our students all this stuff? To do stuff, say they've done it, go get a job, 2 years later. We hired 2 NLP machine learning doctoral people to read text for medical data to come up with one of 6,000 links to say, oh, this appendix, he's talking about it being bad. Here, get this click. You can look at the radiology, a picture of an appendix where it's not good. They did it for a year and a half. They talked to me. You know what they said? I love natural language. I love computers. All I did was play with mathematical equations. They were depressed and they were fired, not because they had anything to do with it. It's because we're setting up our students for failure. So each topic area, when we do stuff, believe it or not, we're using maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, if you push it, 1,000 words. When we are talking about something that's interesting, we need to do. That's it. We have right now tens of thousands of people, human beings, in 2025, sitting in Barbados, India, the Philippines, reading real estate documents every day. $3-4 billion company, CoreLogic. We can't do that. NLP++ can do it, but they don't want to do it. They don't know about it. Right now, humans can do it. That's the only way. And the practical NLP is not librarians all-knowing. I mean, you're not sitting there we're talking about, oh, the NLP blockchain is this. You know, do you know what the capital of Nigeria is? No, that's great. It's a search. Okay, so programs will use the NLP blockchain repository because it will be constantly updated, right? If I'm building an application for you on real estate, I build an agent, and it understands everything you say, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. Future apps. Real intelligence that's artificial. NLP dictionaries, knowledge, and parsers reside on the phone. You know, when people don't believe me, I said, the average person, not a computer program, says in your phone when you're doing translation or speech to text, you imagine that the computers that are doing this has a dictionary of all the words. Oh, yeah. They don't. I had a student, we were going to go to Wikipedia to get the Chinese dictionary and try to turn it into a linguistic useful dictionary. We found out that it has no linguistic information. It doesn't even tell you if that Chinese character is an adjective. He was depressed. You know where we found that? In a game some guy did in Chinese that was like one of those Dungeons and Dragons games. He came up, this is nuts. This is today. This is crazy. Crazy. We'll get digital assistants that linguistically understand. I can say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Hey, I've got 2 customers. They want to see this property. And then you say, oh, the property's at this. It's going to have all the rules, all the dictionaries, it knows how that's speaking. The person who built it knows what's there. It's going to put in the rules. It's going to put in the knowledge base. It will build these things and put it in its memory and knowledge. So if I say to my phone, it's just a general assistant, my grandmother's birthday on December 7th, it will remember it, put it in a place, and you can talk to it about it. We had a program like that in 1968. It's called Block's World, Sherdlu, by Terry Winograd at MIT. It understood 100% of the Block's World. You could ask it even question why, and it would answer it correctly. Now we have the computing power to do it. We have the programming language to do it. We have the blockchain and the coin to incentivize it, and that's what it's about. This is kind of the answer to everything here. Where are we on time? Real artificial intelligence is really hard to do. It's as hard to do as you think. I'm going to be doing this NLP Foundation, and we're going to be doing this and trying to get millions of dollars to get this thing started. We hopefully will have tens of thousands of people doing this. I don't know the answer. I'm a linguist. I'm one of the experts in the world probably in this area. I don't know the answer. But now we have the tools and the framework. Someone's going to come. I say it's a lot like SpaceX, right? You go and you start doing it, and you know, when you fall, if you go back and watch SpaceX, you're just thinking, there's no way they're going to get anywhere. But they had the right idea in the framework, and they worked with it, and they kept getting better. So I don't even know the answers. If I'm talking to Elon Musk, if I'm going to talk with Zuckerberg, if I talk with them to get funding for this thing, I'm not going to go, how are you going to do it? I don't know. But I know there are people out there that will do it. Somebody's going to come with a really good algorithm to parse Chinese and really well. And everybody will look at it, everybody's going to use it. It's going to be, hey, they've got it. I can't do that. How are we going to do that for all the languages? Right? How do we do that? So it will take decades to accomplish, take tens of thousands of people around the world. It can only happen by creating an NLP blockchain, NLP++, incentivize the NLP coin. Results will be trustworthy, intelligent programming. So Conclusion, the NLP blockchain and coin are the only way we can do this. We can't do it any other way. Here's just a simple calculation. There's 50 languages. There's really over 7,000 languages. Let's take the top 50, and there's 200 topic areas. That's probably low. That's 10,000 dictionaries. Now you tell me that any big company, Apple, any of those are going to build 10,000 dictionaries? They're going to try to automate it. How are you going to do that? Slang for tens of thousands and slang for the emojis for teams around the world, all these things. No one company can build this. We need the masses to build this. We need the NLP coin to pay for this. And if you are a person who is investing in crypto, I'm sure I'm not going to ask for a raise of hands, but there's probably people in here that have invested in crypto. And you know, you're going to say, I watched a lot when I was learning about the blockchain. I said, how do these people invest? They go to Twitter, they go Google you, and they go, what's this NLP coin? Oh my gosh, this is a great digital. Wow, they're going to try to wow, they're taking this out of the hands. Dictionary, I'm investing. That's why I think this is the right time and the right place for this. So I hope that got you on a journey. I know it's a long way. The NLP Foundation, here are the websites. This is the community website, nlpglobe.org. NLP.Foundation is not announced. You can take a look at it. It's still work in progress. You can learn more about myself at thehilster.com. And the book will be coming out. So thank you very much for your time. Questions? Nobody has questions. When's the NLP coin come out? And can I get on a list to let me know when to? That's all my friends are talking about. Like, they don't care, but you should let. You had a question.
Textual knowledge is part of that. I know some people on the argument of are LLMs intelligent. Some people have proposed the idea that in a way we are also probabilistic machines, and that because of our experiences in past things, would you say that context is the real differentiation between those two thought processes?
What I would say is this: there's some bad logic there. First of all, the incentive is wrong. They're just trying to sell it to you. Most of the people say that. But the other thing is, what happens? Yeah, we don't learn by rules. You don't sit down and say a sentence. You don't sit down with your kid. A sentence is made up of a noun phrase and a verb phrase. A noun phrase is made up of determined lots of adjectives and a noun. You don't do that. What happens with repetition? Those things become part of our brain. We know that because we can test it. Psycholinguistics, they can test that. So that's what and context, yes, that's what happens. When we're talking, a lot of times what happens, you're not listening to me and going, okay, memorize. Okay, he's done with the sentence, process. No, as I'm talking, you are processing. Okay, and that's part of it. If I give you a verb, and this is the things we can program. Well, the good thing about NLP++, it's not tied to any linguistic way to do processing. If you study linguistics, there's top down, left to right, all kinds of things. But yeah, context does it. It's more like, it's just a stream. We literally, one word at a time, we build things up. We'll sometimes hold things for a while. You know, you can do a verb. You know, I hit the ball yesterday on the front of to do da. So you've held that in your head. And context too. You know, I Googled, oh, there's an ED at the end. That's, you know, an I, and yeah. You can, like, there are garden past tense, but no, those things, the statistical part comes in from us hearing it so many times. Those rules become innate, but we can tease them out from people. Right? We just give them things. They go, well, I know this was wrong. They can't articulate it. But when you tell them, they'll go, oh yeah, you're right. So yeah, we don't, and what's the most interesting thing that when I'm working with interns or students using NLP++ for the first time, they go, I'll give you an example. One person was looking at the while loop in NLP++, as a while loop. So they're getting in there talking about it. It's like they go, wait a minute, hold on. What do humans do? What are we doing here as humans? And I said, there's two rules in NLP++. First is think like a human. When we are computer programmers, I came up with the shortest definition, go look it up. You can't find it, but shortest definition what a computer programming is, traditional program for computer programming, thinking like a computer. That's what you're doing. You're thinking like a computer. When you program in NLP++, you got to think like a human. And one guy said, I've been a programmer, I'm in my master's, and I've never had so much fun programming. Why? He says, I have to think about the way I think. You read stuff and you don't ever try to analyze why I know what I know. And when you start doing that, that's what got me hooked in NLP, and I haven't stopped. And I still don't know what I know. Does that help answer your question? Okay, another question? Yes.
Projects have you done at your university? What dictionaries have your students built?
It wasn't at the university because I just started, but when I was at the supercomputing lab at LexisNexis, we had interns. We were looking at Nepali, Chinese, and English. It was funny. This is a good story too. What we were doing is we're taking Wikipedia and parsing the pages, which are done by humans using media. What's it called? Media text, or I can't remember what they call the language, but it's got a markup language, right? And a group of students were doing that in India, and they came back to me like 4 weeks in the project because Mr. Hilster, I wasn't a professor at the time, Mr. Hilster, we decided to sit down and say, we don't want to use NLP++. What could we use to do just to parse the pages from Wikipedia? He says, in 10 minutes, we discovered you couldn't do it without NLP++. So when we are working with that, these are the things we're wanting to do. But it's really hard. You can't just go. I've worked with a couple of volunteers at LexisNexis, 2 Brazilians who knew what we were doing, and they wanted like now I'm telling people we were working on the same thing for Portuguese, and now if they know they're going to have Portuguese NLP coin, maybe they get it at $1, and in 3 years it's $4,000 each. They're probably doing pretty well. But the answer to that question is that we haven't done a lot. Is because it's how do you incentivize that? How are you going to get a student to go through and build all that, to do all that? You have to have a reason, you have to have a bigger structure. So these things are still out there kind of hanging, but we know we can do it. We've done experiments with it. And we realize actually NLP++, even to go and mine information sometimes is the only way because it's too hard. You can't do it with regex. You can't do it with Python. How do once you understand NLP++, as a programmer, I used it 10 times a year when I wasn't doing NLP. Because everybody who's a programmer comes across text that is kind of foreign, but it's too hard. Regex doesn't work. It's just too hard. You can't write a program. You can't. Okay, but no, we want to do that as part of the NLP Foundation. We haven't done a whole lot yet. The questions? Speak up a little louder. I'm not here. I'm an older guy. Okay, say that louder, that last part. Of what? Human data? Human errors. Well, we've done that actually. We wrote, my colleague who's the other co-author of NLP++, he wrote a system for when we were doing a reading real estate documents. And it wasn't human error, but it was OCR errors. And so what you do is, it's very simple. What's the first rule of NLP++? Think like a human. What's the second rule of NLP++? Think like a human. I got that from Fight Club, sorry. And so what do? You look at when humans come across this, what do? That's how you do it. You can encodify that. Yeah, this is hard. Yeah, it's hard. I don't understand why everybody thinks it's going to be easy. We got that from the stupid, neural networks going to learn everything on their own and all that. And this is totally controllable. It's not going to go out of control if you program it to do what it wants. But the answer to that is you have to look at if that's part of the process. I'll give you an example, probably how I would do it. You're going along, you're doing whatever task. There's some error, there's something that go right, maybe misspelling, something that you don't expect. You can bump that out because in your program, you can have, just like humans do, you ask like a human, how do I know that's wrong? You program it in NLP++. You shove that out to another NLP++ program who then knows I need to do this with it. Sort of like agentic AI, but intelligent. I'm sorry, I had to say that, but Oh. But does that make sense? It's hard. I'm not gonna, turtle. In fact, I'm insisting on BPB. This is a big publisher. They 100 million sold in India and in China alone. I said, I want a turtle on front. Why? He says, because this is a little long. We're gonna render, in fact, if you look in the background, those are the rabbits. And I said, I wanted to put ML, large language models. I was gonna put that in there, but, okay, does that answer your question? Okay, question? Yeah.
Market, a lot of people compare the current AI market to the dot-com bubble. You kind of want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, it's absolutely, there's a couple things. First of all, you have to understand, if you read The Empire of AI, great book, you'll find out the number one thing when the author's been doing the rounds around the world. Because what's the number one thing? Sam Altman is the best salesman in the world. That gives you a huge answer. Because what's happening is they're overselling it. They don't listen. Mark Zuckerberg, I've seen Bill Gates stand there and talk about this stuff like, oh, in 5 years, we're all going to get universal. We don't have to do anything. It's like, Bill, take 20 minutes and try to understand what this is. So it really is coming down to, from what I can see, from what I've been reading, it's probably the finances are going to break first because they just can't keep this going. And so the problem is they're all being bamboozled. Zuckerberg's bamboozled. Musk is bamboozled. All these people. And so what I really think is going to happen is these things are going to die down. It's going to take its place as another tool that we have for programming that you can use. That's just the heck of an autocomplete. I mean, I had to write a little article for my daughter's blog, how she got this big part in this musical that everybody knows about. I didn't want to write about, Adelaide and what she does in that. So I had to write it and do it, and I can adjust it. It's a great autocomplete. So I see that thing falling down to where it should be. And then something like this where we build it, and it's going to be hard. So more questions? No? Okay. Oh,
Is there like any reason why you chose?
turns out that my first lecture on all this stuff was at Clemson University, and I worked the first project I got to do with NLP++ was in Nepali. So I just kind of used that because no one really thinks about it. So you're a very, very good question. But if you go onto the website like NLU Globe, you'll see a couple of projects there in Nepali. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, let me put it this way. If you guys are smart, if you're from Nepal, the person I was working with knew a lot of people who were teachers of Nepali in universities. If you want to get into on this, you would, get in contact with the foundation, set yourself up for a person that wants to deal with just the dictionary. Imagine that in the future, 5 years from now, anybody who's doing NLP in Nepali who's using that, you can retire. But no, we don't have a active project with that. Although you can go onto the nlglobe.org and see about the projects. And there's a young lady doing her doctoral degree. And what we were planning at that time, this was way before the blockchain and all that stuff. So, yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
You approach different companies with NLP and see what their thoughts are about it.
Yeah, maybe we'll have you on our team. We're working on that right now. We're looking at, I am learning so much because I'm just the nerd who came up with a pretty neat language. We're going to be coming up, in usual cases, you pitch it to smaller people and fail with that. So that you get to the right place so that you can go to Elon. If I was asked who I would go to at the big top level, I'd probably go to Elon Musk. The reason I would do that is because he fights for open source way more than other people. He doesn't live in a giant mansion. He's probably the richest guy in the world. He could. But if you look at everybody else, Zuckerberg, the Google guys, Bezos, it's all money. I'd rather get somebody who understands it. Of course, they'll be using it in the future. But no, our goal is to get some millions of dollars for the foundation, build it out slowly, the blockchain, build out the NLP coin, all the interfaces you need, get that going at a very small level, get all the kinks worked out on that until we then go wide. And I think it's going to go, pretty fast. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. Oh, no, monetarily, you're kidding, before it comes out, I'm gonna buy it. But what it's gonna do is that's part of the process of the NLP coin. We won't do that announcement for a while. It's gonna be internal because we have to work out the kinks. We don't want to launch it and then it explodes. So my guess is, from what I'm hearing from my experts like Zach and Matt Stroll, again, if you go to NLP.Foundation, you'll see who those people are. They're giving me time frames between 1 and 2 years. Okay, and at that point, what we'll do is we'll launch it, and all the people Google, what is this? And we think they're going to see something pretty profound. What kind of coin is it? It's a utility coin. Absolutely. Okay. Yes.
How could maybe somebody who couldn't get invested in this financially invest in this programmatically?
Oh yeah, what you do is you just hook up and be around, because you can do anything. You can you can go do the French dictionary. You don't have a buddy for that. Whatever it is, you can hook yourself up to doing, to doing part of that. Also, we have the NLP++ computing programming language. It's in C++. I've been taking care of that mostly. We have the VisualText, which is the VS Code extension written in TypeScript. I wrote the whole thing. It's got issues this long. So what we want to do is we're going to get to a point where all of those things, the person will be earning NLP coin. And that, yeah, that's an investment into the future. So is that it? I think I might think of one more. Yeah. This is the community that we have, that we've actually started before we did the blockchain. So you see people around the world who have been involved with our NLP++ technology. The NLP Foundation is the new one where we are, again, this is absolutely new. I mean, if you look at the views on this, it can get 1 view a day because we have not announced it, but that's where we're going to be to say, we've now got funding, this is what we are doing. And then we'll start setting up a relationship. There is another site called VisualText.org, where you go to tutorials.visualtext.org. That's kind of the place where I put in maybe 30 videos, 20 videos of using NLP++. If you want to become proficient with that, believe me, if you are a programmer, if you have NLP++, it's going to be an advantage, because I did a task in the supercomputing group where they say, we got to take all the 1,300 documents and mark in these documentations for ECL language, all the places where we don't want to translate it. And the guy said, oh, it's going to take 700 hours. I raised my hand and they go, I can do it in 2 days. And that was an NLP++. So it's worth it. The book's coming out. When the book comes out, get it, learn it. Believe me, I'm a programmer. It's not, even if you never do anything with it, you're going to have it in your back pocket and you're going to use it, believe me. So the VisualText.org is the other. All right. Well, thank you very much.